Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Journey of You podcast. Today, you have a solo episode with me, Felicia, and I'm here to talk to you about our bodies and what they might be telling us in the tension that we hold. So, this past week, I was in Mexico visiting our lovely co host, Dr. Devin DeGreif, and I was there for a week. And I didn't realize all these places that I was holding on to tension. I didn't know. And so that's our exploration today is where we might be holding on to tension in our normal day-to-day lives that we're so used to. We've normalized so much that we don't even know it's part of our daily living. Our bodies are always communicating with us, whether we know it or not. And most of us have heard, right, that we carry our stress in our neck and shoulders. But where else might we be carrying tension, and what might that be telling us? So when we're not connected to our bodies, we can live in a constant state of tension that often has an underlying belief or an emotional connection, and we might not even know. When we're deeply connected to our bodies, when we can listen and be grounded, feel our feet, even the quality of your breath will indicate, right, what level of either tension or ease we have within our bodies. So that's the invitation today, is to explore where we might be holding on and inviting ourselves to allow it to ease and to soften, move through, maybe even let go.
This is Joy, the Journey of You podcast. We're your hosts, Devin,
Chris,
and Felicia.
And we're here for joy.
This podcast is your permission slip to reconnect to your inherent joy and to embrace it.
Let's fill up the cosmic joy pot together as we dive into today's episode.
So, as I mentioned at the top of the episode, I was in Mexico this week, and in so many ways, it was the most joyful, calming, loving experience I've ever had. And it was in the first half of the week. And throughout the week, if we're being honest, that I realized how much anxiety and protection I do with my body. So what are some examples of that, right? The first day I get there, we go to the beach. And as we're walking to the beach, we're walking down a road, and Devin, as we get closer, there's sand on the road, right? And Devin takes off her shoes to walk on the sand. And before I even take off my shoes, I asked Devin, is there anything sharp that could poke my feet? And she said, no, it's safe. I'm like, okay. So I take off my shoes and I trust that it's safe, and I walk in the sand. And of course, nothing happens. It is safe. And as we decide to get in the ocean, and for some of you who may not have experienced the power of the ocean, I've trained quite a bit. When I was younger, I took swimming lessons and reached a fairly high level, but I don't swim too often. And I definitely haven't swam in the ocean much. And so as we're going into the ocean, Devin's coaching me through how to move with the waves, right? And she's taking me every step of the way so beautifully. And yet, the waves are pretty powerful. And as I'm moving through them, I'm getting tossed around and I'm gasping for breath. In the process, I swallow a lot of water. Yeah. And as we move beyond the waves, there's this area where the waves are still there, but they're, you can float with the waves. You don't have to actively swim through them. And I'm attempting to lean back and float, and my body simply cannot calm down. Notice that even right now, as I'm telling this story, I can feel that tightness in my chest and this lack of ease and tension in my shoulders, chest, and my breathing. And so as I lay back in the ocean, I'm doing everything I can to take some deeper breaths to calm my system. And Devin is there also supporting me with her hands on my chest and my back to help me ease in. And I get to a state where I can at least float in the ocean. And I notice that there's still this tension, specifically on my left side in my shoulder, that's clinging. It's clinging on for dear life, my friends. And this ended up being the theme of my whole week, where I was clinging on to this tension, specifically in my shoulders, yes, and also in my pelvis. And right, as I was being witness to my body, also in my stomach, where I was kind of always, tensing in my stomach to protect myself. And as I move through the week, we don't have any plans really. We're just walking. We're sleeping in, and we're allowing ourselves to be guided into what makes the most sense to experience for the day. And as we move through the week, I could feel my body coming down, coming into the space, feeling really grounded in Mexico, allowing myself to breathe, and to soften. And it's funny, as I allow myself to remember that time, all my muscles in my body relax. And so what was interesting also is that on Monday, Devin had a bunch of calls to do, and I didn't. So I had some free time all to myself. And what did I do? I stressed and worried about what I should be doing. I should be doing something productive. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. And as much work as I've done around not shoulding all over my life, I fell into that feeling so quickly, and it brought back this anxiety, right? And that deep sense of, I need to be doing something to be productive, to be worthy. And it was so interesting to be able to witness and observe that and breathe through it and calm myself and note that whatever needed to come up would come up. Right. And it was really quick to go back into that state of fight or flight, of needing to feel worthy, of needing to feel productive, of needing to do something, of that tension being like, oh, Felicia, you're not doing enough. You're not doing enough. And that's all. And so how does that tie in, right? When the sympathetic nervous system gets activated, that's our fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mode. So you might have heard about that in the past. If we encounter a bear, for instance, our bodies will go into fight or flight mode, right? Our long-term survival functions will kind of shut down as our sympathetic nervous system is being activated, and our short-term functions will activate. So I can either fight this bear, or I can flee, or I might freeze or fawn, right? And so that is the sympathetic nervous system being activated. And so in the past, right, when our species was hunter-gatherers, we were always on that high alert, looking out for dangers, looking out for physical dangers for the body, And when we nowadays, as we don't have as much physical danger to encounter on a day-to-day, right? Those things that we look out for in terms of activating our sympathetic nervous system is a lot of that danger in terms of the safety around being able to be yourself, around being able to be seen, heard, safe in your own environment on a day-to-day. And so much of the time, we don't even notice that our sympathetic nervous systems are activated. Our cell phones go off, right? We notice messages. We want to get to them. Any stress that we're holding, I have to do X, Y, and Z. Maybe your to-do list is 10 times longer, right? And we're in that state of activation without even knowing. So when I listened to the tension that was showing up while I was in Mexico, a lot of the situations, yes, were around safety. For me, I am unsafe walking in the sand, something as simple as walking in the sand. And then something a little bit bigger around being in the ocean and allowing myself to be held by the ocean and being in that space, allowing myself to float. And as I transition back into my home life, back into my regular life, the anxiety has come up again and the tension has come up again around the to-do lists and not being safe, just being. And what do I need to do to allow myself to be, right? What actions do I need to take in my day-to-day so that I can be worthy of just being? And that's how it all tied together for me in terms of integrating the home life with that safety that I was able to obtain while I was in Mexico. And that's my invitation for you right now. So I'm going to guide you through a physical somatic practice where we can feel into the body and really know where we're holding that tension. So if you're able, I invite you to stand up in your space. And if you're not, that's perfectly fine. We can do this seated as well. So the first thing we'll do, if you'll let yourself, right, is actually lift your arms up overhead, above your head, and shake them out. Shake out your arms. And if you're standing, right, you can add some jumping. You can add some shaking of your hips and your shoulders. And just hopefully, right, you're in this safe space where you can do this and not feel like a fool. Or if you do feel like a fool, you feel safe in allowing yourself to feel foolish. So breathe deeply into that chest space as you shake out your arms, your shoulders, right? You can even have your arms down beside you and lift your shoulders up and down towards your ears and then back down to the ground. Give yourself a little shimmy. Breathe into your chest space and then come back down into your space, into some level of stillness here. So feel free to sit again if you were standing. And just notice the quality of your breath. Maybe because we were just moving a lot, jumping up and down, your breath might be a little bit faster, a little bit short or shallow. Maybe your breaths are nice and long and deep and calm. Whatever they are in this moment, there's no need to shift that in this time. Just be with your breath here. If you like, you can even place your left hand on your heart space and your right hand on top. Yeah. So feel yourself coming down into your chest. Feel your lungs expanding on the inhales and then softening on the exhales. Right. Good. Now that you can ease into that breath space, imagine a golden thread attached to the crown of your head. Just gently guiding your head, the crown of your head, towards the ceiling. Notice how, in that action alone, just by allowing your head to be guided toward the ceiling, your vertebrae naturally stack one on top of the other. And your spine lengthens, creating this space for your breath, your chest, and your back. You can release your hands from your chest if they're there, and maybe lay them gently on top of your lap. Feel that breath coming in through the nose, filling the lungs, down the column of your spine, down into your pelvis maybe, and then back up through the spine as you exhale. Now I invite you to take a scan of your body. Notice that crown of your head. Notice the scalp, skin all around your skull. Notice your forehead and the space between your eyebrows. Even notice your eyes and all the muscles, the skin, the fascia or the ligaments around your eyes. And then go down into your jaw. Just letting your attention wander to your jaw and your tongue. Where is the tongue in the space of your mouth? And you scan down into your neck, your throat, then into your shoulders, your upper shoulders, the back of your shoulders, down your chest, into your arms, your upper arms, your elbows, your forearms, your hands, and into your core, your abdomen, your back. Allowing your attention to drift into your pelvis, noticing what might be keeping you upright, any muscles that are engaged, what might be able to soften in this space. And then down through your thighs, the knees, to your calves, to your ankles, the tops of your feet, your toes, and the bottoms of your feet. And after having scanned through your body, just sitting with yourself here, notice if there's any tension, in your body at this time. For me, I'm still noticing tension in the upper left trapezius, my top of my shoulder. Just notice the tension can be anywhere throughout your body. And if you are noticing some tension in a specific area, and even if you're not, what you can do now is ask the tension or your entire body, what do you need to know in this moment? Is there something, body, that you're holding on to? Is there something I need to know? And if you're willing and ready, you can ask yourself, what's my next obvious step today? And it could be something simple like just sit and witness any anxiety that comes up. Or it might say something lovely like, go get a massage today. Wouldn't that be lovely? Or maybe it is that message around a belief system. Like the example I gave around my belief system, that unconscious belief that I was unsafe. And in that moment, all I needed to do was witness that and observe it with curiosity. Okay, great. Once you have that, I invite you to take a nice deep breath here. Again, filling in through the nostrils, all the way through the spinal column, down into the pelvis. And exhale, let it all go. And again, one more time, inhale nice and deep. And you can sigh a breath out if that feels good for you. Last one, place that left hand on your heart space, the right hand on top. Breathe into the chest space here. Pause at the top of your inhale, and then softly exhale and blink your eyes open when you're ready. Welcome back. Welcome back. If there's anything that I've experienced in my time in learning to work with my body, it's that to practice, practice, practice. I really, even now, have to learn how to sit with my body periodically throughout the day, right? Allow myself, if needed, to scan through the body and ask if there's anything that needs to come up. And that's my invitation for you, is just notice throughout the day where you might be carrying tension, where you might have inadvertent stress, and allow yourself to breathe with it and the invitation to move through it when you're ready. With that note, I'd love to hear how this practice felt for you, whether you were able to move through some things, whether you had some insights come through in terms of belief systems, emotional connections to any tension that is experienced in your body at this time. If you're watching along on Spotify, we will have a poll there for you to fill out. I would love for you to do so. Subscribe and like and comment, engage with us. We love to see that connection and how this might be landing for you. So with all that said, until next time, we'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.